Hi everybody, this is Pramita here, and we are constructing the packaging, the folder using packaging. Now what I've done in the meantime is that I've covered this with gesso. Now you don't have to cover it with gesso basically, but for me what I like is when I'm gluing down the papers, if I have applied gesso to it, then it sticks pretty well and the finish comes out very nice. It sort of you know how can I explain? Gesso creates a very good background for you to work on. So even if I want to ink this, I want to do some stamping, I want to do some collage, then this is going to be my perfect canvas for that. So I created a blank canvas for my journal, and the packaging that I was working with, it already had a plastic coating sort of thing, so that hinders any kind of adherence, especially of paper or fabric or whatever. So I have basically just given this the front part 2 coats of gesso, and you will see in places the gesso is coming off, but that's okay, they are going to be covered up, so you don't have to be perfect. But and inside I've just given it 1 coat of gesso, and similarly I've done the same with the other bits and pieces that were in the that were going to be used in the folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guesstimate uh, the papers that we're going to be using to cover the pockets. Now I want the front part, the inside part, to have a blankish kind of look. So what I'll do is I'm going to be, now if you're wondering about this finger, this was just some ink from my printer. I was just refilling some inks, and yeah, so I messed that up. So what we are going to do is we're going to create an alternating background paper and main paper kind of look in the pockets, because this is going to be one of those pockets. And what I'll do is so this is it. So I want this part to be a little bit colorful, and on this part, the bottom part, on this part I will again repeat this paper, so that way you'll have a very good balance of a little bit of color as well as some kind of backgroundish paper. So for that we need to choose the paper. So I have gone through the main sheets, and what I decided is that I'm going to use this blue floral element in these pockets, and they've turned out to be perfectly sized to be used over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my pencil. Just a second. Yeah, so I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to just trace this out. Now as I said, as I said, I'm a big fan of templates, and templates make things so much easier. So this is my template for the pocket, and I'm going to just cut this out, and I'm going to leave a little bit of extra in case I mess up, so that I can trim that part off. So it's like cutting fabric. When you're making something, you always cut a little bit extra, so that if you mess up, then that's going to be your that's going to be helpful. So this is how my pocket is going to look. So one pocket down. So I will glue this down, but right for now I'm just cutting these up, so that if I plan on stitching, then I can. Okay, and I'm going to line this portion, and only this much is going to come, so that's going to be totally cohesive. And I'm just going to turn this page over, and as I said, I'm going to I don't know if you're going to see my head too much because I have my camera placed in such a way. So while taking the measurement, I'm just taking it as it is required, but then while I'm trimming this down, I'm going to take a little bit extra in case I need that. Hopefully I won't. Okay, so we have our pockets figured out. So these are going to be our 2 pockets. So I'm going to be lining these up, and then I don't need this right away. Then what we're going to do is we are going to guesstimate how much we want this to be covered up. So for the journal, what I plan on doing is I plan on keeping the spine open and not use the paper throughout, because that way the spine will have greater movement and I can use fabric if I want, or I can just leave it as it is. So I'm just going to measure this out, how much I need. Just a second, let me get my ruler. Okay, so I'll just measure this out. As far as I remember, it's 4 1/4. It's just 4 1/4, but I'm going to take it at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Now I don't require this to go till the end, so I'll probably take it till, you know, 3 1/2, because the pockets are going to be staggered. So I'll have a pocket over here and I'll have a pocket over here. So 3 is a good, so 2 1/2. So 3 is a very good amount. Some paper will be tucked in, that's okay. And whatever stitching I plan on doing on this side, I will do that before I start working on the front, because in case I need to sew through this portion, then it won't show on the front cover paper that I will be using. I hope it's making sense. So whatever stitching we are going to do, we're going to start from the insides and then we're going to go outside, so that you know, you don't have any excess paper. So let me bring out my trimmer. Just a second. So we're going to trim the paper down. So basically I'm going to trim this up to 3 inches, and this part 4 1/4 and 4 1/4. So probably I'm going to cut this portion off. So I'm just guesstimating that this is the part that I don't require, but we'll see how things go. Yeah, so I am going to take this portion off, and again I'm going to keep a little bit of a leeway in case I need that. So I'm going to trim this much off, and now I'm just going to take this, run this through my trimmer guillotine, and I'm only going to be using 3 inches. Okay, so so I'm going to be using 3 inches because 3 inches is a pretty decent size, but still I'm taking a little bit more. As I said, I don't want to feel that I needed more paper, so that's it. So I'm going to have my pocket over here, and then we're going to have this part. I'm going to slice this part up because I want more flexibility around the spine, and I'm going to cover this side up. So this part I'm going to cover with this kind of paper. This will actually help, to bring a kind of semblance. Again, what I'll do is I will just mark this with my pencil. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to take this and mark this with my pencil so that it is easier for me to guesstimate. Now if this is my pocket, then what I'll do is I'll just, again I'm taking a little bit of extra in case I need that, and here I have again I'm taking a little extra in case I require. So this is the tiny bit that we'll be using over here, and as you can see it's pretty it's sufficient. It also has this little bit extra. Why? I can fold this over when I'm stitching. I can fold this over and then it's going to have a neater finish. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with this scrap and just measure this out, how much I had taken, so that I can repeat the same. So I've taken 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to trim this down. So it's 1.5 inches. So the pocket is also going to be covered and I'll still have a little bit of extra. So that's fine. Done. So our pockets are figured out, and this is going to go on these two sides. And for the inside, what we're going to do is I'm just going to measure this up, how much I require. Now this is you can measure it with a ruler. I will just show you. So I'm going to be lining this up with the pocket over here. I have trimmed this part a little bit more because I wanted a wider spine, because I'm going to put in a journal most probably, and I want this to have the pocket to have enough space, also the spine to have enough space to accommodate. So this is my portion that I need. Okay, so I'm going to trim this part up. This is the part. These parts are all going to be sewn in, and then we'll see how they look. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to be put in here. Okay, I'm just trying to visualize what I will have, the basics. It will look a little bit different once it gets finished. So this is the second pocket, and this is going to be, this is this. Okay, so this is what the inside is going to look. Of course they are going to be trimmed and cut down and whatever, but this is the basic thing that I want inside. Not too much, not too less. It's just a very simple project, but probably I will add a flip over on this side. We will come to that later on, not on this side. So yeah, that's it. So I'm going to keep it at this like now, for now, but probably I will add some flips. Who knows? You don't know until you start putting things together. It happens with me all the time. When I start working, I have certain vision, and then along the way what happens is I just started getting ideas. Yesterday what I thought was, why not add a flip? It's very simple. You just can add a flip on this side and make it work. So the flip was not in the plan, it just happened. Okay, So I'm going to do the same on this side, but I'll still take a little bit of measurement in case I think, yeah, so there I have a little bit of extra, and that's okay. I'm going to trim that down, so I'm going to measure this with this, line this up, okay, and then I'm just going to trim this up. Done. So we have both the parts done. Now for this part, what I plan is add a separate piece of paper, because we already have the scrap, which probably is not going to be enough, so that's fine, no worries. We can add some paper from the main papers or something. We'll come to that later on. So for now we have all the pockets figured out, okay, and so let me see. So I should have 6 pieces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Where is the 6th one? Is this the 6th one? Probably, yeah. So I'm going to keep them paper clipped so that they don't get lost. And yeah, so I have these pockets ready. Now we need to think of this flap. Okay, now for the flap, I do have this long strip which I can definitely use, and it's highly suitable. So I'm going to be using this, and in this case what I'll do is I'll just glue it right away on this side, and then I'm going to trim this off and stitch around it. Okay, so as I said, all the stitching on the back side, on the insides, I'm going to do ahead, even before I plan the cover or the journal cards, anything, because I don't want anything to show through. So we're going to work on this, and we're going to let this dry. I'm using a PVA glue because I know I'm going to be, I don't have any brush close by. Oh my god, I need to use my fingers. I still remember Aunt Kathy telling me, commenting, Pramita, that sounds weird. A person who loves to collage. Really and honestly, I hate to put my fingers into the glue part, Rest is okay, but I don't know. I know this much, that I am not the only one. Okay, I'm not the only one who feels this way. And I probably won't be the last. So Sunday had been pretty busy because I wanted to plant some vegetables, and I planted them in grow bags. So if they take shape, I'll definitely share them, because I live in a small apartment, so grow bags are my go-to thing. So I have planted some carrots, some chilies and tomatoes, and some coriander. I don't know what's going to happen to them because I don't have green thumb. Anyways, let's see. Let's pray for the poor plants. And hopefully they will sprout, they will germinate. So I'm just taking this off, and if I want, I can stitch around it. Of course I'm going to stitch around it, it goes without saying. So Sunday was spent, the morning half was spent in that. And then I had a visitor, a lady. She wanted to talk to me about her son needing special classes from me. So she came over and spent quite a lot of time with us, with me basically, and then she left. So now we're going to start gluing these portions down. We're going to ink those all later on, okay? So then I'm going to glue this. So then she talked to me about her son, and her son had also come over. He was having some problems with the lessons. She wants to start classes. Her son needs to start some extra, tuition sort of classes. So let's see what happens. So I'm just gluing this down. You don't have to sew this also, but personally I found that if you're sewing something, it just adds a little bit extra. Not only extra in the visual context, but it also makes things trendier. But that doesn't mean you'll have to do stitching. It's nothing like that. If you are not comfortable, or if you do not have a sewing machine, you don't have to do that. You can totally create. I need to trim this a little bit neatly. You can totally go without sewing and still make awesome journals. Okay, so here is our pocket done, and I'm going to put the glue down, put the paper down on this one, and so in the first part I had shown how you can cut down and create something like this. So what I have here is just so now I'm going to regarding laying down the second pocket, I'm not going to do that right away, because as I said, I might put in some flips simple flips, not double or triple or something of that sort, but simple flips, because the spine will not accommodate much. That is a very significant thing that we have to keep in mind when you're creating something. So it was not straight, but never mind, it still is going to look okay. And we have the pockets done. Okay, I really need to clean up my finger. I'll probably use some alcohol, the sanitizer thing, they clean up pretty well. So I will glue up these pockets, and then I'm not going to put them over here, but just glue them as it is. So I'm going to let this dry, and also I'm going to put some glue over here. See, since I have put down the gesso, what it had done is it had taken out that shiny thing, and the surface has become more receptive to the so I'm just trying to figure out which part is which. Okay, so this is going to be this part. So it has become more receptive towards gluing. Otherwise, you sometimes you do have a really hard time gluing stuff down. I had a card I used for gluing purposes, but I can't seem to find it. And another one, I broke it, just imagine. So I don't have enough to tuck this in, so probably just give it a little push, and also some glue. And when I'm stitching, it's going to be, you know, it's going to get fixed. I should have left more paper. That was an error in judgment. Okay, but I'm going to put some paper clip so that it stays put. So now we have the middle pocket done. Okay, and we're going to do the same on this side. In the next part, or in, I don't know how long this video is going to get. Let me check how much time we have spent. Okay, it's nearly 26 minutes. So the next thing is that I will have to let these pockets dry, and then only I'll use. Okay, so I had I had really messed up. I was in a very big hurry to finish some project, journal, whatever, a few days back, quite a few days back. And what I did was, the glue had not dried, and I was so brave. I was just trying to, you know, ignore the fact that my machine might behave or might just protest that, you know, I'm not going to do it like so. I just ran my sewing machine even though the glue was not dry, and lo and behold, my machine got stuck in the paper itself. Oh my god, I was really worried. I didn't know what to do. And then I had to clean everything out, first with alcohol, and then I had to you know, oil the needles and stuff like that. It was a huge mess. Anyways, so we have worked on the pockets. I'm going to let them dry properly. I'm not going to mess with the pockets this time with my machine, because I really need that. And so we're going to work on the other part, this one. So for this one, as I said, I will be putting this over here, and this is going to flip out. Okay, so I need a paper to cover this and also create some pockets. So either I'm going to use some very bold papers to cover this and some neutral papers to make pockets, or the vice versa one. Okay, let's think about it. So if I do this, I can make vellum pockets also. So in that case, I do not want a neutral paper. I would want something that's going to be bold enough to cover this. So why not use this? Okay, so I have the scrap, and this is going to go in. Okay, but one thing that's bugging me is this is too hard, this cardboard bit. So I might take this off and add a piece of paper. Okay, the concept is going to be the same, or probably I'm going to keep it this way. I'm going to cut this off. I'll show you how this can be done. When I was doing gesso, you know, this just occurred to me that this hinge is too stiff. I don't want the hinge to be so stiff. So another thing I'm going to do is probably I'm going to round the corners, but I can't seem to find my corner rounder here right away. Anyways, we can do that later on. For now, I need to trim this straight. It's not straight. It is not straight. So I'm just going to line this. Okay, just a sliver. And what I'll do is, this is going to be the opposite way that we had planned. Okay, so this is going to be the front, and this will flip out like this. So we're going to have the hinge on this side. So what I'll do, I'll cover this part with this paper. So let's see what happens. So what I'll do is just need this much, so I'm going to move it in this way. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to glue this paper on this one, and then I'm going to cut out the excess. This part is going to get long. I really don't want to keep it long, because then you will not, it's going to take a long time for me to upload, and then a long time for me to edit if I need to. Yeah, so I want to keep it around half an hour, not more than that. I don't want to keep longer videos. I'm sorry, my voice is becoming acting weird. So we have this much, so that's okay. So what we can do is we can push this a little bit, because I need to trim this part. Okay, so I'm going to run this through the that's pretty annoying. I'm going to take this part off. And okay, so if I have this, I'm going to take this off. Why? I'll tell you. I'm going to be making a hinge from the same paper. How? I'll show you. So if I take a little bit extra, then that's going to form the hinge. So this part is going to be the hinge. Okay, so let me squish this down. I don't know if you can see. As I said, each and every journal that I create is not always pre-planned. Most of the things are done along the way. So that is why when somebody says that I want to see a tutorial or want to see a process video, it really becomes difficult, because not all the things have been planned that way, and sometimes they are so impromptu, you have no idea. Like this one, I should have thought about this, but I didn't, as usual. And also, this is a very quick way of adding hinge. And the best part is that okay, so now I'm going to cover this. Okay, now we're going to take off the extra, don't worry about that. So this is going to be our hinge, which is going to go in like this. So what I'm talking about is, this is the hinge that's going to be here. Now everything is going to be stitched, so, and trimmed straight, so no worries. So this is going to be our back flap. Okay, and here I'm going to do something, and this will flip up. Here something is going to get covered. This is going to be good. I did something like this, not exactly same, because every journal is different. I have said this before, it's very difficult for me to do a custom journal also. I do receive a lot of requests of creating something similar, something same, but I always say that it's very difficult. I cannot create something exactly same. It can be 90%, 80% same, but it cannot be exactly same. It's difficult. And the more the complicated the process is, the more difficult it becomes, the more flips, the more things like this, it becomes more difficult. So I have basically done the trimming part, but of course I'm going to stitch, so no worries. And I don't know why it's tearing off around this part. Why is it tearing off? I don't know. So probably I will add a little bit of fabric over here just so that it holds properly. Maybe it was wet. Okay, so this part is done, and now we need to cover this part and this part. Okay, so that we can do with another paper that we have. I think I was using one, I don't know, I don't think I've used up entire paper. No, I have this. Oh lovely, I want this birdie, but the birdie won't fit in. If I try hard enough, then probably it will. So what we're going to do is we're going to make two separate images for that. I think that's going to be better. And this one I need to add a little bit of fabric so that it holds well. You can do this way also. Probably I will do something to cover this up. I'm not sure. I don't know why it gave away from this section. So I'm going to let this dry, and I'll show you how I'm plan on repairing this portion. As you can see, I'll probably add a fabric hinge over here and then do something else. So this is not going according to plan. You can see it's already tearing off from this portion, and I cannot let that happen to any of the journals that I work on. So I need to figure out something that is going to do the repair. So the first thing I'm going to do is let this dry totally. I'm going to cut this off, add a fabric hinge, and then I think it's going to be better. So we'll come to that. I think the hinge has been too stiff for this paper, this fold. We'll see what we can do. See, things happen. They don't go according to plan. So thank you everybody for watching this, and keep watching this entire series. There will be part 4, part 5. I do not know how many parts, because as you can see, bumps arrive along the way. There are hurdles along the way, and then it takes up more time to rectify things like this. So that's it. So I'll try and do the repair and show you how I have fixed it. It's going to be there, but I'm going to fix it. So, and this birdie is going to go on this side, because this side is wider, and on this side again I'll put something else, because I plan on cutting this side off, adding trimming this part off, adding a fabric hinge to this. So then it's going to be more flexible, and I'm going to repair this part and show you how I have done that. Okay, so keep watching, don't go anywhere. And yeah, so this is real real journal making sort of thing, not that something I have prepared ahead of time and I'm just putting it together. It doesn't work that way. So we're not selling ideas like this. This is reality, and I really appreciate people who show their reality like this. And that is also one of the reasons why I fear to show this, because then this is a never ending process. it just eats up a lot of time, filming time, video time, whatever. So thank you everybody for watching this real time folder making process, and bye. I'll be back with the third part.